Science of Higher Consciousness. Join Todd and his guests weekly at 10 a.m. Pacific Time and learn how to live a peaceful life with intentional mastery. Enjoy a survey of inspiring topics such as abundance, intention, health, manifestation, love, and transformation. It's all right here. Leading authors, speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs with stories and messages to support your well-being, let alone your most evocative dreams.
Hey, it's another groovy day. And why is that, you ask? Because this is the second show of 2021 of Life Mastery Radio, the talk show that brings you great thoughts and ideas for you to use on your very own life mastery journey. And of course, a couple of characters named Todd and Jackie. I'm not sure what planet these two are from, but you know what? We have a blast. Our guests have a blast. And I'm told you out there listening have a blast. So join us and have a blast. This is a pretty cool little fireside chat where we just might plant some seeds for you to investigate or explore or check some other things out. We have a really cool guest today, so stay tuned. Before we get started, though, let's get centered and situated a little bit. I always like to get ready for the show. Maybe, yeah, look at Jackie. She's all in the groove, man. Roll those shoulders, wiggle that neck, and
Right.
let's take in the deep breath all the way down deep into your solar plexus. And then let that breath out with just a big ah, and just let it flow up through your heart center, throat chakra, and right out of your speaker box out into the universe. Let's do that one more time. Listen, it's a phone call from the dude. Who else could be calling on a phone that's supposed to be muted? Gotta be. No,
Gotta be the dude. He's got something to say.
Let's take in one more deep breath. And let that out. Here's what I want you to hold that breath and think about your dreams, visions, and goals. And now hold on, and let those dreams, visions, and goals just flow right up from your solar plexus through your heart center with a big ah, up through the throat chakra and right out of your speaker box out into the universe. And for sure now, think about providing the universe, God, Allah, the dude, whatever it is that you believe in, the opportunity to make those dreams come true for you. Hi, Jackie. How are you today, my friend?
No, I'm good.
Are you all loosened up and
I'm kind of loosened up. Yeah. I'm sure our guest is going to loosen us up even more because that's what he does.
It's almost so. Jackie and I have been doing this show for almost 2 years, coming up in February, and I just got to say, Jackie, what are you getting me for our anniversary?
Let's see. I'll have to look at the traditional anniversary gift for the second year. Is it paper? I don't know.
maybe some stationery.
Maybe some stationery.
She's getting really used to me just coming off the wall. You can tell she's just ready for it right there and there. How is it going with the Speak Feed Lead project?
Well, today we are celebrating National Youth Day. Many people have not heard of it because it is a national holiday in India. And it was actually started because of, let me get his name right. His name is, Swami, oh my gosh, I can't find his name now. I have it here somewhere. Okay, Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda, he was a person who loved young people and felt that young people were going to be the ones that not only change the planet, but build relationships between nations and bring peace to the world. And so January 12th is his birthday. And in honor of him, India has created National Youth Day. And there are a lot of activities and events that happen in India on this day. And there are some things that you can do here in the US to celebrate National Youth Day. You can take public speaking classes to empower your voice and empower the way that you can change the world. And right now I'm offering some free 30-minute coaching sessions with me, who is a trifecta expert, meaning I'm a champion speaker, I'm an award-winning leader, and I'm also a champion feedback giver. So I provide feedback to people, and I've been in contests and have been a champion with that. You can also help a child, teach a child something new today. You can have a conversation with a child or someone you love and really listen with the idea of understanding what they're saying and learning their story and what they have to offer to the world. So there's lots of things you can do to celebrate National Youth Day. And so happy National Youth Day, everybody.
Yay. Well, you always come up with these days. It's pretty cool. Do you have like a calendar that tells you what day?
Sometimes I just wonder, is there anything specific about this day? I'm thinking about making a blog post or podcast or something like that. And I think, what is it significant about this day? And for some reason, even before I learned about National Youth Day, January 12th was going to be big for me. I don't know. Something's going to happen today that's major, I think, because it's been on my mind for some reason. I've been honing in on January 12th. So maybe it's this, maybe it's something else. Who knows? But
Jackie's on it. I do want to remind our listeners, huh?
I said I try to be on it.
She does a really good job. And you can check out our website where Jackie creates a blog post about every show that we do, and it's really good. There are some really amazing posts. She gives her take on what we talked about and the guest, and oh my gosh, it's just really cool. So after today's show, keep an eye out on www.lifemasterradio.net or .com, and you will find the blog post about today's show. But there's a better way. If you signed up for our newsletter, you would be notified every week about who's been on the show, who's coming on the show, and Jackie's blog post. And Jackie, it's really easy to do with a smartphone. How is it that I do that?
Take out your smartphone. Everybody's got one, whether it's really smart or not. Everybody's got a phone. And you can text Life Mastery Radio to 22828. So 22828 is the number you dial, but you text Life Mastery Radio. It's just going to ask you for your email address, maybe a phone number. The only way we're going to use that is to send you our weekly newsletter so that you can find out what's happening, just like Todd said. And it's pretty easy. We don't sell it to anybody else.
And while you can go and check out lifemasteryradio.net. You can sign up for the newsletter there if you prefer. You can check out all the cool shows that we've done, and you can check out my book, 6 Keys to Life Mastery, Unlocking Life Skills for Successful Living. It's right there. Go to Amazon. You're going to love that book. And after you love that book, go back to Amazon and tell everybody how much you loved it. That'd be cool. I really did. Let's see. Oh, and we have a YouTube. Jackie and I've been doing this for 2 years. I think it was about a half a year. We did no see talk radio for a while, right, where you couldn't see us. That was kind of cool. Now we have to get all dressed up and buzz. Life Master Radio has a YouTube channel, and all of our cool guests that we've done videos with are right there. So you can scan back and forth if you don't have much to do. Man, we have some really cool shows. So that was a question I was going to ask Jackie. Jackie, after 2 years, looking back, what guest stands out as somebody that really opened your world up or rocked your world?
Wow.
I know we've had so many. I thought about that today.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think Linda Deer, she put me on a new course, a different way of thinking. I set some goals, and those goals actually were met. That was pretty exciting. Pam Grout has also been someone who,
a big name.
I have read several of her books since we had her as a guest, and I have followed her experiments, and I've taught many of those experiments to my students.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they come back really excited after having done them. And let's see, gosh, I do remember we had a Dr. Oh my gosh.
Bernie Siegel?
Well, Dr. Siegel, of course. That's not who I was thinking of, but he's been my all-time hero for many years. So the fact that we had him on our show was pretty cool. Darn amazing. Absolutely wonderful.
That was my anniversary present to you.
Thank you so much. But I have to top that. That's going to be tough. I'll have to think about that.
Well, you might have done it already because we have Juan on today. You might have. We'll just have to see how it goes. He might.
That's right.
Pressure.
One's going to whip us into shape here. So.
Okay.
Pressure right there. No pressure at all.
That's right.
Are we done goofing around? Do you think? I've been having fun, but we have this guest with a big smile on his face, and he has been patiently waiting. And I don't have an introduction. Do you have the introduction?
I
Jackie?
have the introduction.
Okay, you let her rip.
Juan, I know he supports youth because he was on the Speak Up Summit back in August with the Speak Feed Lead project, and so I'm definitely thrilled and excited to have him here. And he is a vitality coach whose purpose is to help impact-driven leaders like Todd and I, coaches and consultants who are also parents like Todd and I. Juan's clients are great in what they do, yet their bodies are beginning to fail them, like Todd and I. Juan's program and methods will cultivate high energy and discipline, resulting in incredible health without spending hours working out or going on restrictive diets. All business owners, coaches, consultants, and parents can enjoy peak performance without having to miss out on the things they love most. Juan's coaching program includes a 4-element blueprint called the Laws of Vitality, where Health 2.0 meets Mindset 2.0. So bring your next level mindset and health together so you can create an extraordinary impact in your business, with your loved ones, and you don't even have to spend hours away from them while doing it. So if you're not already intrigued, I am excited today to have with us Juan Miolan. Please welcome Juan. Yay! Woohoo! Hello, Juan.
We do this in Toastmasters to clap
That's
because
right.
we
This
like
is
to clap a lot. So that Jackie and I are kind of
Our visual
pre-trained.
applause.
I appreciate the.
That's right. We can hear it. I can hear it.
Oh, I've been wanting to do that, is create a soundtrack for an applause. Juan, welcome to the show, my friend. Yeah, you heard Jackie talk about us being parents. See, we're parents who have already given the gifts back to the world, right? We raised these youngins and they grew up and now they're on their own.
But they're still exhausting us. It's still this emotional exhaustion every day.
Now we just watch and in wonderment and think, wow, that's my kid. That's my kid. So enjoy it while you can, mister. I know yours are pretty young. Get in the
But
groove.
Juan, how did you get started in doing what you do?
Oh, long journey. So the first thing that I remember is going a little bit into childhood, and what sparked one of the things that is dear to me, which is mental health, is my mother struggling with mental health when I was growing up. And that showed me that no matter how much you love the people around you or the things that you love to do, if you do not take care of what is in between your ears and most importantly, what's in your heart, then, all those things, you can't show up for any of those things.
Yeah.
And that set me on like the journey, whether it be subconsciously or consciously. And many things transpired after that, going through exhaustion, going through insomnia, getting that success and not feeling fulfilled. And what I saw was being a personal trainer and being a nutrition coach, and just seeing that health and wellness is just so much more than just moving around and exercise and nutrition. Like, so getting into that, the neuroscience, behavioral science, I always love philosophy and the spirituality of aspects of things. So really seeing, okay, how can we really look at the human being as a collective whole, and kind of plug these dots together so someone can get the whole experience without having to, sacrifice one area of their life for the next. Right? We're parents, we run businesses, and there's this other aspect of health at which, if that falls, everything else falls, right? And we don't want to not perform with our families. We don't want to not be present. That's one of the things that I hear a lot of people want more of, is that presence, being more present, because we're always stuck in our heads so much. And it's just my way of having all these passions and geeking out on all these passions and putting it together for, and I call it health, right? I call it vitality, but it's really looking at the complete human being. And that was basically my journey, and evolving through that journey, and then
So
seeing
the three elements, mind, body, and spirit, that some would call that a holistic approach. That's your definition of vitality then, is addressing all of it?
Yes, because we're so integrated, right? And we can't leave one part out. It's like if you have a 4-point stool or a 3-point stool, if one is missing, you're not holding yourself up. Nothing's happening, right? So it's not that one is more important than the other. We have to understand that it's not an either or world; it's a both and. And we get caught up a lot of times with these either or kind of discussions. When we try to look at things a little bit deeper, but it's really integrative, and you can't have one without the other. And the four laws, or what I call the 4 laws, are, of course, the spiritual aspect of things, the mental, the emotional, and the physical, energizing your physical body. And this is where we talk about sleep and how to really get into what do we need to sleep? What does our body really biologically need and psychologically need in order to get that deep rest? Food and our association with food, and that neural association with food that a lot of times we overlook. A lot of programs overlook that. And then movement and exercise, and why exercise is not really a good first step for health, but we see a lot of people start there. And just kind of explaining why that is. It's not just saying something to ruffle feathers. It's like, let's really look at what's going on in the body and the mind, the soul and the heart, and let's layer that.
I was really blown away. I interviewed a guest. I'm not sure if I can remember the name, but I was really blown away because that guest made a statement, and she said, 85% of our health problems in the United States would go away if people drank enough water. And I was like, really? Is that true? I mean, hydration is, and then I began to notice myself in certain areas when I wasn't hydrated, and how wacky, I felt my thoughts were going. It was just like, wait, I haven't drink some water, and everything's smoothed out. It was just amazing. So I'm sure that plays a huge part of it in nutrition.
A huge part of it. And it's one of the things where the brain is made mostly of water.
Yeah.
It's made mostly of water. And that's part of the neural nutrition that we talk about. And really having this distinction in mindset teachings, right? Where we need to understand that the mind and the brain are not the same thing. Right. So if we're talking about the mind and the brain, and we understand that distinction, which I feel like it's not being taught enough, we get to understand things a little bit deeper. And so we look at the brain as this physical entity, this amazing, sophisticated technology between our ears, right? But it still needs the laws of the physical realm still apply to it. So when we talk about this mindset and the brain, we must speak on neural nutrition, because if the brain is the antenna for the mind, we need to really look at what can really get that brain functioning at its highest level, so we can get that mental clarity, we can get that creativeness, and getting those things. And water is what a lot of the things are so simple, people overlook it, and nature tends to be simple. This order of things is very simple, but water is a big one. And then there's other nutrition where we could talk about the brain and gut axis, and how food and your gut really make the serotonin and dopamine, and all those neurotransmitters that make you feel good.
It's interesting that you suggested that our brain, the gray matter between our ears, I've heard you reference that a couple of times, but the brain is the transmitter for the mind. And Didn't you just said that? Yeah, you said the
Like
brain
the
is a
incentive transfer. Yeah.
and
Yep.
I wrote that in my book, tell you the truth, that
Wow.
that it's like a radio transmitter.
Yeah.
And when we pray, we're transmitting. And when we're in meditation, we're receiving, right? So we transmit and receive.
Right.
And then I went so far as to say gratitude, which I would imagine gratitude is a huge part of your teachings and your process. Gratitude provides that feedback loop that lets it all work in a circle and let it all know that it's all working and everything's in the groove. So that's kind of what I wrote. I just picked up on that. Just a
Yeah.
little shameless plug there.
Plug away. We're talking about really clarifying some things here, and it's a powerful clarification.
That's the way it works in my life. And I'm sure Jackie has felt the same way.
Yeah.
There was one thing, vitality was one thing on my mind. Jackie, go for it.
Well, this is the first of a new year. And so a lot of people set New Year's resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 90% of those people who are setting goals for the year are related to exercise or diet. So they think, I'm going to exercise more or I'm going to eat better. That's a pretty common New Year's resolution for a lot of people. Are you saying, Juan, that that's not necessarily the best goal to set to start with? Is there something else that most of us should be starting with rather than just starting to exercise or planning to eat healthy, which if people don't understand what that means, they may be undermining their success. So what does your program start with? What's the first step?
So I always like to start with truth, right? I like to say that transformation happens through truth, not through strategies. Right? So once you know something, you can't unknow it. And a lot of us are trying to change without knowing and understanding this thing called our body and how it truly operates, and the brain and our belief systems, how it truly operates. So I like to say that you can't get to the next level of health without a next level of mindset, right? And you can't get to the next level of mindset without a next level of health, right? They flow off each other, and I can sit here and do this all day. Like I just, that has no purpose. I just like doing this, right? In setting those goals, we first need to understand, how to set more heartfelt goals. Because the language of the universe, when we talk about attracting what we want and the law of resonance, it operates through the heart. So the first step in my method, my RISE method, is ours to reconnect with the heart, right? And a lot of times we stay in our head too much. This is why creating that distinction with the mind and the brain is very important, because we stay in our head so much. And from the quantum mechanics aspect of things, there's infinite possibilities there. So you can stay overwhelmed and see and be like, I should do this, that, and the third, right? But what we're really chasing, what we're really after, is a feeling. We want to feel something. We want to experience something in life. So where we go to that is at the heart. So let's get away from the head first and go to the heart. We always say that, right? But we just overlook that statement. Like, I got to get out of my head. Oh man, I just got to get out of my head. We're like, yeah, you're right. We've been right this whole time. But what does that mean? Okay, if you have to get out of your head, where do you go? And I like to teach the approach of going into your heart and really understanding and tapping into, how do you want to feel? Okay, and I think we've gone away from that so much, especially a lot of men, where we've just been kind of indoctrinated to not tap into the heart, not feel our emotions,
or express them.
Right. Exactly. So that heart-centered approach and first feeling, how do you want to feel? And then once we do that, it's not about not using the brain. The brain is amazing, right? But let's go to the command center and then go back up to the brain, and now start aligning those things in terms of how do I want to feel? And now these things are going to bring me to that experience, right? And now by doing that, you're going to filter out like 85% of the BS that you thought you had to do. By nature, just like, if it just falls to the side, like, that doesn't even resonate with what I truly want to experience. So why am I even kind of thinking about that, right? So we have to get in touch with our heart center. And when we talk about the chakras, is the bridge, right? And we talk about courage, and the root word of of courage being heart, corazón, core in the Latin root. And it's just so interesting to me how everything plays a part and really aligns when you like study these things. And we want to get there when we go to our goals, and then we want to understand how our belief system works, because it's important to set that vision. It's very important to set that vision. But the thing with the brain is that it doesn't follow a vision, it follows a belief.
It's really interesting that you say that, because if you ask people to point to themselves, where do they point? Point to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You point to your heart. You don't point to your
head.
No.
I listened to.
I was thinking about that. I was like, what points to my head? Myself.
I watched a pretty interesting video that you have on your website, and I have to think that a lot of what you're talking about, getting in touch with yourself, is understanding what your purpose is.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But you said something really interesting, and I was trying to correlate what that is. And you go through these questions and you say, okay, now I really want you to think about, what is it in the world that really pisses you off? And I was like, really? What does that have to do with my purpose? So I need to know that answer. That's what I want to know.
It's a way to kind of connect, because a lot of people feel a little, if they're not into that, or they're trying to find their passion or their purpose, it's hard to filter that out. But there's something that kind of pulls you, right? There's this problem in the world or community. You probably had an intimate kind of relationship with that problem somewhere in the timeline of your life, and it comes to you like, it pisses you off, right? It's just like, oh man, this shouldn't be happening. This shouldn't be happening. I want to be a part of that solution. We experience that through like this kind of pissed offness, and because there's so many problems in the world, there's so many problems, and there's so many solutions that need individuals. And that's really my modus operandi, right? That's really my purpose, is that I want to help people come alive in their purpose, help people come alive in what they do, because they are going to be the branch, the solution that we all need, and I just feel like there's so many people not living their life, not experiencing, and they're just merely existing. And I believe that everyone
wrote the book. Shameless plug. That's exactly why I wrote this book.
We organized this, right? And this is for you to plug in, and we're going back and forth on this, Todd. So it's that, because there's so many problems out there. Why is it that you hone in on one? Why is it that like one really pulls you? And that's how I came up with that question. It was like, okay, what really pisses you off? And go.
People get up in the morning and they just wonder, why do I even get out of bed? Or what's this all about? Here I go through the same drudgery again. I'm going to go to work and I'm going to get up. Right. There's a lot more. When your tail's between your leg and your head's down, you miss a lot of opportunity.
A lot of opportunity, and it takes a lot of energy away from you.
Oh, that's true.
That life force, right? It takes a lot of energy away from you. And one of the things I like to tell people is that you don't have an energy problem, you have an energy distribution problem, right? Because as soon as you get more clarity on what it is that you're going for, all this kind of BS that you've been giving attention to, it kind of falls away. You'll notice when you audit yourself that you've probably been giving your energy and attention and focus to so many things.
And other people.
Yeah, and other people that aren't aligned in your mission. You know what I mean? It's such a powerful notion, and it's so simple. Again, one of the simplicity aspects of it. And just understanding that, hey, this is your life now. Where do you want to go? Because when we look at that psycho-cybernetic loop of beliefs, thoughts, emotions, actions, and results, when we look at how things happen in our world, we know that most of our beliefs, we grew up with beliefs that aren't really ours. We adopted them, we accepted them. And then when we're able to filter them out, and this is a real big component where a lot of people are getting to that New Year's resolution or trying to set new goals, and they get in their head about, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, or there's too much
going. I heard this last night. Juan, there's too much going on in the world for me to even worry about myself. There's so much going on. I have to, and I'm like, slow down. It's only about you, really.
Right. And it's really getting honest with ourselves and taking the time and to slow down, exactly what you just said, and really audit that. Where do we want to go? What do we truly want? Because when we realize that our thoughts are not really our thoughts, it becomes a whole different game. Because if you're thinking in a way and you're feeling in a way that you do not want to feel most of the time, then by definition, you are not in control.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I wanted to walk up and walk to the corner of the room and I start walking and I end up on another corner of the room, I'm going to be like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? I'm not in control of my body. And that's what's happening, where we want to go somewhere and we're not getting it. We want to feel something and we're not feeling it. We're not able to really master. And this is why I love the title of the show, what the show is about. Really, it's about that life mastery. When you understand those things. And
well, too, I think a lot of people don't really understand, I call it getting in the groove, right? Groovy is my favorite word, but you get in that groove and that's how you make a difference in the world, right, Juan? That being all caught up in your thoughts and in your, and I like to call it wallowing in a bucket of, well, just say it, poop. and trying to splash it on other people, right? And thinking that's going to make a difference. And it's not. It's making a difference in here and projecting that out into the world that makes a difference.
Right. And that's so powerful when you understand that you have the power of decision. And once you take that power of decision, everything changes, because you live your life based on your belief system. Mm-hmm. The brain just goes and filters. We have the reticular activating system that goes based off of our beliefs. So you have all, like you talked about opportunity earlier, you have all these other bits of information of opportunity, but the way your brain is set up is just to focus on that belief, right? So if it's like, I'm not enough, women can't be trusted, man can be trusted, and I'm just here, it's looking for evidence of those things or those patterns. So that's why it's build momentum. It builds momentum, and it's hard to get away from, because you're like, well, this happened, and this happened, because now you have evidence, because you were searching for the evidence from an unconscious level. Now we're able to switch it up and understand that, hey, these aren't even your thoughts. Because if thoughts come from beliefs, and most of your beliefs aren't yours, then we can conclude that these thoughts that are ruminating in your head aren't your thoughts. And these thoughts are contracting thoughts. They're not empowering thoughts. And that's where then we go into the aspect of getting to understand what emotions are, how they play a powerful role in our world, how they can be used to really tap into the subconscious, right? Because you can think whatever you want to think. We could do the mindset work in a safe environment and do all the affirmations and cool things. But what happens when you step into the world and it's a real world event, and now you get triggered and those emotions come up? We need to understand how to really grasp those things and understand those things so we can master our emotion.
Well, that's a good segue. I want to remind our listeners that you are tuned into Life Mastery Radio with Todd and Jackie. Of course, I'm Todd. That's Jackie in the red. And we have a wonderful guest with us today, Juan Miolan, and he is a vitality coach, life coach. And we've had a really interesting discussion. You can find out more when Jackie creates a blog post about the show at www.lifemasteryradio.net. You can go there, find out all kinds of things about life mastery, and check out our YouTube channel. We have a lot of cool shows. Jackie, I feel like I was hogging the first part of the show. You go, girl.
Totally. Whatever. Well, Juan, I want to make sure that I understand what you're saying, because what I'm hearing is completely opposite of what everybody does when they're starting a new exercise routine. Is that they have this, they're motivated by an event or a dress size, right? That they want to be able to fit into. But what you're saying is it's better and probably much more successful to be motivated by your purpose, to understand your heart center, the emotions that you feel, what you want to feel, And then that begins to control or at least influence your thoughts so that you can have different thoughts. And then all the physicality of your body is going to start changing with the additional exercise. Do I have that right, or am I totally off?
You're on the right track. That's it. It's like, look at your goal and then ask, why is this goal important to me? You know, there's nothing wrong with getting into a swimsuit or a dress or whatever it might be, right? But it's not just that. It's, what is that going to have you feel, right? Is it going to make you feel more confident? You know, are you going to feel stronger in your body? Are you going to feel more secure? So now we see that it's really that security, that confidence, that feeling strength in my body that I'm really after. And we usually confuse the vehicle for the destination, right? In terms of, I want to lose weight. And that's a vehicle to get you to feel something. That's a vehicle to get you to that destination. We just don't really know what the destination is. So we can do all these different things to perhaps get to that dress size or to the clothes size. And one of the things with goals is that once you reach them, you're like, well, now what? I mean, I did it, you know, so I did it. And then like, you revert back to the old way, because we confuse the goal for a vision. Right. And so how I like to look at a vision is like your overarching kind of journey. And goals are the stepping stones to get there, right? So we're seekers, we're creative beings, we're energetic, like expansive beings. So we always want to grow. And so when we talk about that, the exercise portion of it, if you're if you're starting to exercise, if you haven't exercised in a while and you're starting, I would please beg you just to start movement over exercise first. And what I mean by that is kind of some spine articulation. And I could put a link for my small movement library, some spine articulation during like your mornings or during the day, right? Just a little bit of hops, you know, turning your T-spine, because what this does is that it kind of ramps up your lymphatic system in your body, which is basically your detox system, right? And it doesn't have a pump like your circulatory system does. Your circulatory has the heart. Your lymphatic system really is made and to operate through muscular contractions, you know. So going on walks are great. Deep breathing is amazing. Why do you feel so good when you exhale? You know, because we have a big lymphatic node, like the biggest in our body, right there, kind of like where our diaphragm is, all our organs are, liver, like right deep near our spine. And when you breathe deeply, all those organs are moving, and that lymph node is getting activated, right? So this is why we move. This is one aspect of why we move. Now, when we talk about exercising, we need to understand that exercise is a hormetic stressor. So what that means is it's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger kind of thing, you know? But we need to understand it's a stressor on our body, especially the way it's been kind of perpetuated in culture in terms of you hit it hard, right? But what do you need in order to recover from like intense exercise? You need proper sleep. You need proper nutrition. You need to be able to manage your stress in a viable way, right? And these are things that before the pandemic even happened, these are things that many people weren't able to do, right? Those things weren't aligned. So what tends to happen is that as you continue doing these intense exercises, you continue to stress your body out without being able to recover. And then what happens is that you're actually doing the opposite of what your intention is, which is you're aging yourself faster, or you're going to get injured, right? Mm-hmm. So we need to understand that there's nothing wrong with exercising. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with exercising. It's just there's an order to how we do things, right? Nature always has this order. And this is what I like to mimic nature, the aspect of biomimicry, right? Marry the science, marry the nature, marry the spirituality aspect of things. But we need to understand that. We need to understand that, hey, if you're not there yet, that's fine. But let's start with movement first. And the way we've been programmed to look at exercises is to do it for hours and hours and hours a week. Now, if you have a purpose, if you're good at what you do, like myself, I don't want to be away from what I do for hours on end, right? I don't want to be away from my family for hours on end. And these are things that you're just gonna kick back and be like, well, I can exercise later, right? Or I can do this later, right? And then when we get deeper into exercise, you don't even have to exercise for that long for it to be beneficial.
I have learned I've learned that lesson the hard way. One, because
Me too.
I've done those P90X exercise routines
Yeah.
where you're working 90 days, an hour and a half every day. And all that accomplished for me was that burned my adrenal glands out. And because it overstressed my body.
Right.
And I know that there's a lot of people that do that, and there's nothing more demotivating than to feel like you are trying to build muscle and make your body healthy, but you're getting more tired every day.
Yeah.
And that will turn you off to exercise more than anything else. And so that's probably a mistake that I'm not the only one making, that a lot of people make that mistake because they're not taking care of the whole body. They're just working toward either losing weight or gaining muscle, and they're destroying everything else. So,
there's a lot of untruth. I'm glad you brought that up. Like if you're doing things for health and it's sapping your energy, low energy equals low health. Like you being healthy is you being vibrant, you being present. I'm not saying that you're not going to have tired days. That's not what I'm saying. But those should be the exception, not the rule.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're on that journey, health doesn't require you to suffer for it. It doesn't. That's restrictive diets. You're hungry all the time. Like this is not healthy. If you're feeling this way, this is not healthy on a chronic level. You know, so we have to really look at what and switch around and just follow the science, right? Just follow the science with it. And one of the things that really got me going outside of the fitness industry and step outside of that and serve people through my own way is being in an industry that perpetuated, hey, you have to work out if you want to get healthy, come and work out, right? And if you're not getting results, come in more, right? When you have a trainer, no offense to my trainer friends, but when you have a trainer in that system, they're going to tell you to come in more and more. And they're not looking at your belief systems. They're not looking at your purpose. They're not looking at many things that's going on with the truer you. So I had to ask myself the question, the quote. I asked myself, I looked at this quote, and it's a powerful quote. It says, "You cannot convince a man of the truth when his salary depends on a lie." And I was like, well, where do you stand on this, right? Like, what type of man are you, and what are you for? What do you stand for? Do you stand for truth? Or since you're good at what you do, when you know about the body, and are you going to stay in this comfortable system where you know that it's perpetuating a certain kind of untruth or a lie? And that really kind of catapulted me to do my own thing, you know. And I was doing the work of kind of unraveling the untruths and getting there, in which I love having conversations with people such as yourself and Todd, because we're all on this journey together, right?
Right.
How important is it, one, for accountability? I mean, a lot of success I've had is from mastermind groups and having an accountability partner. How much does that play in your program?
I think that's huge. I think just when first of all, is knowing that you can't do it on your own, right? That's one of the biggest things. Everybody that's done something great has done it with a coach, mentor, anything like that. So even stepping into that, you're creating like this social accountability aspect. When you pay for a service, that's accountability, you know. Right. Masterminds, and when you're open and vulnerable and you share your vision with like-minded individuals, they hold you accountable to that, there's something that we do where we can let ourselves down, but we don't want to let someone else down.
Right.
No. And then as you build that, it's this skill, this inner integrity. You have to look at, when you say something, do you actually do it? And I mean, we all have notions where, hey, I don't do it over here, but I do it in this area. But overall, when you say something, do you follow through? And if you're a person that never follows through, that usually doesn't, you're unconsciously, when you say you're going to set a goal, you're already out of it, because you haven't built that trust capital with yourself, that inner work. So as you kind of be true with your word, with you, and you are going to start, it begets more integrity, and integrity begets more integrity. And now you'll be trained to say, I'm going to do this, and your body is going to believe you.
Right.
And you're going to move energetically towards that, and you're going to find ways around obstacles, because you're a person of your word and you have that internal integrity. There's like little things like that that's overlooked, but it's very important to have that strong and true relationship with yourself. So that's like that inner integrity, inner accountability, but also that social accountability that you talked about on top.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. So, okay, well, let's talk about diet then. Once you are in touch with, what your purpose is, and and you've got this goal set that makes sense based on your purpose.
Right.
What is it that, diet, you mentioned gut health, which I have found is absolutely the most important for me. If my gut is healthy, everything else works well.
Right.
And so, but I do find that there's a lot of things I can't eat because my gut isn't happy with them.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some things that you teach about nutrition that might be a little bit opposite or unlike what other people are teaching?
Good question. And when you talk about the gut, there's probably a lot of things out there that we shouldn't be eating, right? That our gut is going to that our gut is going to disagree with us about this. As you get into that journey and you clear up some of those things, it's like, ever had maybe a toxic relationship before, and you've grown and you're like, whoa, I would never do that again. That's almost like how your body reacts as you get more enlightened and more in tune with your body and feed it the things that it needs and do the things that it needs as well. When you experience something that's not supposed to be, that's not energetically with you, you'll experience those things that you didn't experience before. You're like, whoa, okay, I can't do that again. That I don't feel good. Whether it's bubble guts, whether it's like mental clarity, whether it's, like a mood, or you're just very, very low. So that's a very good point in terms of the gut health. Now, when it comes to nutrition and food, what I like to do, I always like to talk about the root, right? I always like to get comprehensive about the root and go into the truth, because then we can apply a strategy. But we need to understand what's happening. So when we have something like food, I always like to tie it to the neuroassociation and what food really means to us, right? Because we don't eat nutrition. We're not thinking about nutrition when we eat food. And food has a certain experience and a certain tie to us. So an example would be some cultural foods. If you grew up in a culture and there's like a food that you just love and you just know that it's not healthy for you, you've grown to know like, oh snap, this is not really good for me. A lot of times we don't realize that as we're trying to remove some of these foods, that they've always been present in our lives. And since they've always been present, we have to understand that they're intimate to us. And since they've always been present, what our brain does, it creates these neural associations with that food. So if it was a family, it could mean this can represent a piece of, community. It can represent love. It can represent family. It can represent coming together and speaking, and now intellectually, I got to get rid of this. But your body, your subconscious is saying, no, this represents love. This represents
some good stuff, man.
Right? So we need to understand what this food truly means to us, and now rewrite that meaning in script. So now you can create the new meaning and script, because your brain is just doing it subconsciously through repetition and through the environment around. And now we have a better hold of what's going on and a better way to move around this. This is where we talk about self-sabotage, right?
Mhm.
I know what to do. I just get back to it, right? I just keep going back, because your body cannot let you do something that it's against your belief, right? Against this meaning, a deeper meaning with you. So I always like to go into that and bring that aha moment, because now it gets easier, and since we understand things, we're able to change things in an easier way. And this is the blueprint, because once you know, you can't unknow, right? My intention is for you not to ever need me. You know, it's not about you coming back over and over and over and over again. It's, hey, let's understand these foundational things, and let's own it, let's master it, and you go and rock out and bring light into the world, right? And that's what it's about. If you want to go deeper, there's deeper things. We can go into a different program with those things, and we get into deeper meditation, tapping into subconscious, those things. But that foundation, the blueprint, is for you to keep. It's for you to know.
Oh my goodness, friends. We only have about 5 minutes left. And no, Juan, we want you to come back. There's so much more that we can talk about. We don't want you to go away. No. You're planning on Life Mastery Radio. Tell our listeners how they can find you, get a hold of you, and work with you.
Right. You can get a hold of me on Facebook, Juan Mulan. That's my profile. Send me a message. I'm not shy. I'll reply. That rhymed. Okay. And then you can visit my site on at www.thrive212.com. And those will be the 2 ways that you can see some of my work. I also have some free posts on my Facebook. That would be the easiest way to get a hold of me. And we can talk.
You'll find those links at www.lifemasteryradio.net or in Jackie's blog post coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Juan, for showing up today as you. You know, there's one other topic. I know for sure you got to come back. There's one other topic that I wanted to talk about, and that's burnout. I mean, that's something that a lot of people are experiencing these days, and so that's something we're going to have to come back and talk about. Is there any last parting shot that you would like to tell people, something to focus on?
Yes. I always say live through the heart, right? Really tap into what you're trying to experience and what you're trying to feel, and understand that your thoughts are not your thoughts. So doing a little bit of work and just understanding that, be compassionate with yourself on that journey. Please be compassionate with yourself on that journey. And now that you know, you can get on the road to that healing, and then that growth and that expansion.
Very cool. Thank you again, sir, for showing up today. Did you have a blast? Did I meet your expectation? You had a blast?
Fireside chat, man. It was great.
Get nice, warm and toasty and comfortable.
Yeah. I got a little nervous. Where I was like, oh, this might be a brawl or something. Let me get my mouthpiece. But fireside chat, it was great. It was great.
Cool. Jackie, any amazing takeaways? I know you're a consistent note taker, and did anything jump out at you today?
Well, Juan is very impressive to me, because he brings everything together. Like, we could go to this coach for this, we could go to another coach for that, another coach for this, but Juan's got it all there. It's integrated into his one system. I'm really impressed with that. And the fact that he talks about our memories with particular foods, like as soon as he said, some foods are associated with events and happenings in our life, I'm thinking cheesecake is the party food. So how do I got to replace cheesecake with a different party food so that I can still feel like I'm enjoying myself with food, but I'm not eating the wrong kinds of foods. And so that for me was an important point. So I appreciate that.
Spicy food's my deal. You love spicy food, but you know what? I just can't. My gut will not take it. No more. Thanks again, Juan. Thanks, Jackie, for both of you for showing up as you. That's about all we have time for today. Again, check out our YouTube channel. We have a lot of cool shows. Check out our website, lifemasteryradio.net or .com, whichever one you prefer. Let us know what you think. And Jackie and I'd really be appreciative if there's somebody cool in the world doing things like Juan is doing that you would like us to talk to. I think that'd be really cool if you just let us know who that person is.
Yeah.
The show's booked out quite a ways now, but we always are looking for cool people to have a fireside chat with.
And somehow we always find them.
We always find, well, you know what? They show up when they're supposed to show up, and we are out of time. Make it a great day. We will talk to you again next week. Bye bye for now.
Bye, everyone.